be talking about how to quickly go from just an idea to an actual business and making revenue. So, very on topic for founding without funding here. So, let's go ahead and get into it. And, one of the reasons why I do founding without funding is because of this topic, because a lot of people don't realize how easy it is, maybe not easy, but how simple it is to go from just having an idea to getting a product or service out there, getting some revenue coming in, and creating a real business, especially with the tools that we have available today with AI. You also have companies like your digital business partner, which is my company, who can help you set up your own company, all the back end, all the automation, your website, logo, all that kind of good stuff. So there's really no excuse for having an idea and hanging on to it here in 2025 going into 2026. You have the tools at your disposal to take any idea and make it a reality. And sometimes it could be done within a day. I've gotten some of my businesses up and running with the filings, the name, the logo, the website, the landing pages, the ads, all that within 24 hours. So it's definitely possible for you to take any idea and get it out there to the marketplace to start earning some revenue. So, the first thing I want to talk about here today is why some people overcomplicate this process. And I think most people, it's because they want everything to be perfect before they put anything out there. You have to remember, you need to get things out there in order to make them perfect. You're never going to get a product or service to be perfect unless you get it out to the marketplace, start selling it, start getting that feedback. So don't overcomplicate it and think that you have to have everything 100% perfect, because it's never going to be perfect before you launch. You might think it's perfect. It might even seem perfect to some customers, but there are going to be issues in some places that need to be fixed. There's going to be value that could be brought in other places that you see because you've gotten that feedback. So it's never going to be perfect until after you launch it. So you might as well just launch it and start getting the feedback. I think a lot of people, they want the perfect exact website and the perfect exact logo and all these different things, but all that really matters is having something up, some kind of website or landing page, to get people there to start getting that feedback. So I would say skip past the overthinking of everything and go right to actually getting something out there and getting that feedback. And I think really, you know to take an idea and get it out to the market, you obviously want something somewhat unique, but you don't want something that's too niche, right? Because if you're trying to get something out there to the masses, if you're trying to get somebody to purchase something for the first time, you might not want to be totally reinventing the wheel on something. And I say that because right now we're talking about getting this done quickly. That's not to say that there's not businesses and business ideas where you should definitely, and you may have to build out a lot of things, and you may be reinventing a service or product, or bringing a brand new service or product to the market. And that's a little bit differently. But what we're talking about here today is your ability to take an idea and get it out to the marketplace essentially immediately. Again, I've built businesses in 24 hours, from having just an idea to having all the paperwork registered, to having the name, the logo, the website, the landing pages, the automation on the back end, to do the sales, ads running. You can do all this very quickly with the new tools that are out there today. So while some businesses do need that extra work on the front end, we're talking about speed right now. And if you're trying to get something up and running quickly and have that speed to revenue, you're definitely going to want to pick something to sell that's a little bit more regular and solving people's problems that they already have with a product or service that they know exists in some type of way, but maybe you're bringing a new spin to it. Maybe you're just executing it better. Maybe you're presenting it in a better way. But if you're trying to get up and running as soon as possible, you might not want to be changing the entire industry and transforming a whole new product or service, or bringing something people that didn't know that they need yet, that's a little bit more complicated. But today we're talking about getting something out there as fast as possible, as in you have an idea or you have a want or need to bring a product or service to the market, and you want to get it out there as soon as possible and start making sales, and essentially make your company become a real company as soon as possible. Now, you know, getting people to purchase your first product or service is obviously not easy. It's not something that's going to be done just by kind of putting along and putting some stuff out there. You're not going to start making your first sales by just posting a couple things on social media to your friends and family. Like we always talk about here on Founding Without Funding, you're going to need to actually get some, material, some graphics, some ads. You're going to have to get things out there to the market. So many people just post a few times on their social media and they say, well, this isn't going anywhere. Obviously, nobody wants this, but you have to actually get it out in front of the marketplace in order to know that and to learn that information. So don't just post a couple things on social media. Now, if you can't afford an ad budget, which we always talk about, you can spend as little as $1 a day on Meta to do Facebook and Instagram ads. So there's really no excuse to not have a budget. But if you don't have much of a budget or don't have a budget at all, then you should be focusing on organic content. And that is something that you're just going to have to invest your time in. So it's either going to come with time or money. You're either going to be, running ads and or really spending a lot of time on making content. A lot of the motivational speakers, a lot of people that are great at content are telling you you need to post 3 to 5 posts a day on all social media. You should be spending an hour, 2, 3, 4 hours a day on making organic content to put out there. I love one of the things that Gary Vee says is that, you should make a video telling, for example, if you have a roofing company, you should make a video saying with the title, why not to hire us to fix your roof, and that video explaining how they can do it themselves. That's a great idea of something that's going to grab them, something that's unique, and something that's going to help them. And just like always, the freemium type model of giving them some information, letting them know that you actually care about people and their roofs being fixed. Even if you're not the one getting the business, that's going to attract more business. That's just how it is. And so you want to put organic content out there, especially if you don't have the budget for the ads. It's got to be either one or the other. If you're going to be selling something online or to be generating a lot of your business online, which most companies are nowadays, you're going to have to either do both, which is the best, or you're going to have to do one or the other, especially if you don't have a budget for ads. You're going to have to really be on top of making great content. And I would ask, AI, GPT, or Gemini, or whatever you use to give you great ideas for the content. Even have it give you a spreadsheet of the content that you have, plus the captions you should use and the hashtags you can use. And that way you can go in and just schedule it. These things are very simple, but they're not always easy. One of the quotes that I love from one of my favorite motivational speakers, Jim Rohn, is that this is all simple, but it's not easy. We all know exactly what we need to do to explode our business. We all know exactly what we need to do to take our finances to the next level. We all know what we have to do to eat right and exercise and be healthy. It's all very simple, but simple is not easy. And so, we've got to take that from being, okay, I get it, it's simple, to actually being able to execute it. So all of this is simple, just like anything in business. We all know what we actually have to do. It's just not easy to do on a daily basis. And it's not easy to execute on a daily basis, mainly because it takes the effort. Most of it's still simple. It's not that you can't accomplish it. It's not that you don't have the know-how or the tools. It's just that it's not easy to do it in a disciplined way on a daily basis. And that's why a lot of this stuff is very simple, but it's not necessarily easy for most people. All right. So, one of the things that I talk about a lot is getting feedback from customers. Now, you can do that in a few different ways. Obviously, getting on the phone with potential customers is typically the first step. Once you have a lead or a potential customer, you want to not only have all the automation going on with the automatic emails and texts and having them in your CRM and all that kind of stuff, but also actually following up with phone calls. That's going to be the first step in getting that feedback, is seeing how people react to that initial phone call, seeing how people react to getting that initial information. So that's the first step there. Now, another step is to get the feedback from the people who purchased it. So the people who did purchase it, especially if you haven't spoken to them before, you're going to want to reach out to them and get that feedback and maybe provide something. This is a great opportunity to be able to provide something for free to one of your customers, or provide them call them, let them know, hey, you have a repeat customer discount. If you'd like to use it, give them some type of coupon or some type of repeat business discount. So this is a great opportunity to reach out to increase more business as well, but a great opportunity to reach out and get feedback. How are you liking the product or service? Do you think there's anything that our staff could do to improve your experience? So that's the other type of feedback that you want to get. And then the other type of feedback is calling the people who never purchased it. So we're talking about maybe calling people that requested the information a month ago, a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, and following up with those people, knowing that they didn't purchase the product or service, but you got the information in front of them, and follow up on why they didn't purchase the product or service. And naturally, during that process, you're going to also make some sales, which is great, because you're not only going to get the feedback, but you're going to drum up, be top of mind with people. Some of the people are going to say, hey, I actually never really saw the information, or I don't remember seeing the information. Can you resend it to me? And, so just following up with people to get that feedback is also going to inevitably increase your sales regardless. So that's a very important one to do. So those are 3 great ways to get feedback from your customers. And it's not just on the phone. There's obviously other ways to reach out to customers. There's, surveys that you could do. There's, obviously you can reach out to them via email to ask for feedback, or via DMs, depending on how involved your business is in social media. So a lot of ways to get great feedback there. And on yesterday's episode 14, we talked a lot about making your first sale and what happens in the kind of mindset shift of making your first sale. So when you make your first sale, it's going to boost your confidence, but it's also going to let you know which direction you need to be heading. So you want to really analyze what it is that they purchased. What were those triggers that you put out there? Which ad did that person click on? Very important to keep track of everything and know which ad, which form people filled out to come into the system, how you followed up with them. Because as soon as people start buying, your most important job is to figure out where they came from and why they purchased it, because you want to duplicate that over and over again. So if you're not keeping track of what ads they came from when they're being dumped into your CRM, so that they're tagged with, the ad campaigns they came from, and even specifically the exact ad, that's even better. Then you're kind of flying blind if you're not doing that. You need to make sure that you're keeping track of everything. So when those sales come in, you can immediately say, great, it came in from this ad campaign. This is the positioning that people responded to. And if you have a couple of them coming in and they're all coming in from that same place, that's the super easy way to know what to do. The veriest easy way to know what to do is say, oh, 3 came in from this ad campaign where I was positioning it like this. That's the greatest thing that could happen to you. Now, it might be a little bit spread out. You might have to do a little bit more thinking and planning, but it's so easy when all of a sudden you start making sales and you say, I had 5 ad campaigns running. The 3 sales I made all came from this ad campaign. Very simple to either turn the other ad campaigns way down or turn them off, increase the ad campaign for the one that's working, and then go from there. Maybe make some more ad campaigns that are similar to the one that's working with just some different designs. Because one thing about ads is you never really know what's making people click it from a visual standpoint. You know what positioning you made and the wording that you made on those ads, but you could keep that same positioning but have some different graphics with some different colors, and you never know what's really going to catch people's eyes. So that positioning may have worked, but if you make some new creatives that have that same positioning but different colors and different aspects, aesthetics of the ads, you might increase that even more. So you always want to kind of follow that path of what's actually working and also improve upon that and try to increase that in every way possible. All right. So what I want to do is go ahead and take some questions here. Before I do that, though, I want to talk about a couple things to avoid here when you're getting this product out to the marketplace, making that first sale, and that is underpricing permanently. So we talk about if you're brand new, especially if you don't have any reviews or history in the industry, you want to keep the price low, but you don't want to be stuck in that forever. So you want to make sure that you're providing enough value to where you can raise your price as time goes on and not sit in that low price point forever. Don't get caught in the trap of giving everything away for free. There's some things that you want to give away for free. There's some things that you want to give out for a very low price point, but you still need that core premium service of people paying full price for whatever your core product or service is, or your upgraded premium product or service. You want to make sure that that's always there. You need the different price points. There's a reason why when you go to pages to purchase things online, there's typically at least 3 columns, at least 3 options, because one is the lowest tier, the cheapest, one is the middle tier, and one is the high tier. And typically people are going to settle on the middle tier. You'll also notice most of the time that middle tier has like a most popular ribbon on it or something like that. And what happens is psychologically that draws people to your middle product. So that's usually where you want to focus, is that kind of middle step, but you always want that premium, upgrade to be there. And that premium upgrade usually comes with great margins. And so you want to make sure that it's there, because not only is it great when you do sell that, but it's also positions it for people to purchase your regular product or service at the regular price, which is that middle column. So a lot of it is about positioning, especially when you're selling an online product or service or SaaS, whatever it is. You typically want to position whatever your middle type product is, and probably have a lower tier as well as a more premium tier. Also, I would recommend to not switch ideas too much. I think one of the issues when founders are getting this new business going and trying to sell products or service, they switch a little too often. So not only should you not switch too often, but you want to make sure that you're keeping track of every iteration that you're doing of that product or service or that offering, or else you're really just shooting in the dark. So don't switch too often. Give it time to resonate. Give it time for people to purchase it. Make sure that you're following up with emails and texts and phone calls to give them the chance to get the information and purchase it. And then you can shift, but make sure that you're keeping track in your CRM or wherever you're putting your clients and your information on who submitted for what, so that you can go back and track it later. And remember, sometimes it takes people a long time to buy a product or service. Maybe it takes a day, maybe it takes a week, maybe it takes a year. You never know. A lot of my businesses, people that submitted a year ago, are just coming around to make the purchase. And the reason for that is because we're following up with texts, emails, phone calls. It's not just going to happen. They're not just going to jump out of nowhere a year later to purchase your product or service, but it's time, it's follow-up, it's staying top of mind, and it also builds a lot of credibility. I think a lot of people don't understand the credibility that consistency brings. Even just sending out a consistent email to your potential customers, people who've submitted before, your leads. When you do that over the course of years, it brings a lot of legitimacy to you without you necessarily, having a million reviews or joining the Better Business Bureau or something like that. Just the pure consistency of being there in front of the people gives you a lot of legitimacy. So don't forget to follow up permanently. That's why you have these leads with the automation attached. That's why you have a CRM. That's why you have email programs to be able to email them, over time. These things are all in place. And if they're not in place, you need to get them in place. Your digital business partner, one of my companies, can help you get those in place. Go to yourdigitalbusinesspartner.com. So you need to have these things in place. And I'm telling you, over time, that alone, that consistency alone will create a lot of trust between you and your clients, or you and your potential clients. They can see that you're legitimate, you're here to stay, you're consistent, you're professional, and you're in their face, so that they know when they do need that product or service, yeah, this is the person that's always contact me about that. Let me contact them back. Let me respond to the email this time. Let me respond to the text this time, because they've been texting me and emailing me for so long consistently that I know that this is what they do and they're serious about it. All right. Now let's go ahead and take some questions before we get out of here today. I'm going to go ahead and just take a few questions. A question here from Eric. I feel like I'm making this way harder than it needs to be. How do you know what actually matters early on? So Eric is asking, I feel like I'm making this way more complicated than it is. How do I know what to do in the beginning? So if you want to kind of cut through the clutter, just make sure that you have your offering out there and make sure that everything is automated on the back end. That's the number one thing. You can, think of all this different stuff that you want, but you need some type of landing page, some type of funnel to bring people in. You need some type of ad to get them into that funnel, some type of ad or, promotion, get them into that funnel. When they submit through that funnel, it needs to go into your CRM. They need to be sent an automatic text, an automatic email. They need to be followed up with a phone call. And again, if you can't set this up yourself, which there's all kinds of information out there on how to do it, if you can't set it up yourself, your digital business partner can do so. Your digitalbusinesspartner.com can do it for you. Or you can go out there and search for, the different courses like Founding Without Funding course or books or YouTube tutorials. There's a million different ways to figure out how to set up that automation. But that is the very first thing you need. You need a funnel for when people come in. They're tracked of where they came in. They're sent the automatic text and email immediately with the information. Then they're followed up with a phone call as soon as possible. And you're tracking everything so that you can then follow up with them. You know where they came from. You'll know why they purchased once they do purchase, because you'll know which ad they clicked on, how they came into the funnel. If you followed up via text, email, if somebody did get a hold of them on the phone, who did get a hold of them, all these things need to be tracked. And so you need to make sure that you set that up. I would cut through all the clutter, all these different things that you're thinking of doing in the beginning. That's the basis. You have to have that set up so that when you push people through your funnel, when you get clients interested or leads, everything is being done automatically for you. So if you don't know how to set that up, I would research it. If you want us to set it up for you, we can do so at yourdigitalbusinesspartner.com. We can set up all the back end, all the automation, help you launch your company, all that kind of good stuff. That's the first thing I would worry about. Then after that, you need to worry about getting people in to that funnel. So that's where your advertisement comes in. That's where your organic social media comes in. That's where maybe you're doing calls, cold calls, whatever it is. Now you need to focus on getting people through that system. Now that you know that system is set up, everything is being tracked, everything is being kept in your CRM, everything is automatically being followed up with via email and text, getting the information to the people. That's the first thing you need. Everything else is just kind of extra stuff. Get that set up so that you can start pushing people into there. And then whatever way you can, start pushing people into there. And that's how you're going to start getting sales. Okay, question from Jenna. How do you stop tweaking and just commit to one idea without feeling like you're picking the wrong one? So, how do you commit to one idea without feeling you're picking the wrong one? Make sure that you're keeping track of what you're doing and then do it for long as it takes to get it in front of enough people to get the feedback to know whether it's going, and then you're going to tweak the idea. So again, the marketplace is going to tell you that as long as you're getting in front of enough people. You don't have to be right every time. You don't have to magically pick the exact right idea. Just get it out there, get it in front of people, see if it works. If it doesn't, adjust it. That's how you're going to know. So don't be stuck on one idea. Don't think that out of these 5 ideas, if I pick the wrong one, then the whole thing goes down the drain. But if I pick the right one, I'm a millionaire. It doesn't work like that. Pick the one you think is going to work the best at first, work it, get in front of the market, make sure you have all the automations on the back end, make sure you're getting all the information to people, doing everything you can to sell it. And then from there, take that feedback, tweak it, go to the next idea, whatever it is, and continue the process. And the market will show you which one is going to work. So you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a psychic. You don't have to pick the exact right idea. You need the process to be able to know which ideas work and which ideas don't. And then you don't have to worry about picking the right idea. It'll all work itself out for you. Okay, question from Carlos. Is it better to start with something small and boring or chase something bigger that feels more exciting? So is it better to start with something small and boring or chase something bigger? That depends on what you're trying to do. If your end goal is something very large that you can't really piece out into small purchases, into easy, quick things, then that's what you're focusing on. But most of the time, most entrepreneurs are in this founding without funding stage where they're just trying to get something up and running. They have an idea, they have a product or service, and they need to get it out there and start getting cash flowing. Cash flow is king, right? So I would say that most of the people that I speak with are trying to get that out to the market. Now, if you have a much bigger, grand idea, it's going to take a lot more planning, but I would still make sure you get everything you need there. So for example, if this is something where, you need the right people to see, maybe you need the right partners, and maybe you even do need an investment, then you would probably be more focused on making sure that your website is perfect, making sure that your pitch deck is perfect, probably doing some type of prototype of the product or service. These are the things that you could be working on. I know for one, I personally want to bring the product or service to life before I even talk to, I don't wait on investors. That's one of the points of founding without funding. But even if you are trying to get an investor, or you're trying to get strategic partners, or you're trying to sell something to your customers before you buy it, trying to sell something to them before you've even actually invented it, which is one of the principles of founding without funding, how you can make it happen. If you're trying to do that, what I'm big on is bringing it to life. So instead of pitching an idea to somebody, I like to put it on paper. And really, what I mean by that is some type of example. So if we're talking about, something that's digital, I would make sure that I have a website set up for it, how it would look. I would have, graphics set up for it, how it would look, so that you can bring it to life to the people that you're pitching. So whether you're pitching an investor or pitching a potential partner or pitching customers to see if somebody will purchase it, bring it to life. If it's digital, put the graphics together, put the landing pages together, put the ads together, put that all there so somebody can actually see it instead of you just saying it. It's so much better when people have something, a little bit more tangible. Now, if it's a physical product or service, then make some type of prototype. Even if it's not exactly what it is, something to bring it to life more than just an idea, because ideas are cheap. The execution is what matters. So if you can take it past that idea and even just do some of the execution, it really brings it to life for whoever you're trying to, pitch it to or get on board or get excited about that product or service, because you've taken it from more than just an idea. Anybody can have an idea and say an idea. You've taken it to the next level. You've planned it out a little bit. You've brought it to life. Hopefully you have something to see. If it's physical, something to see and feel and touch. So definitely make sure to take it to that next level, as opposed to just an idea. Get it further along than just an idea before you start taking it to people, whether it's an investor or a partner or a customer. get that extra little bit on it so that, it's more than just an idea. Okay, last question here we will take from Hannah. What if people say they're interested but nobody actually buys? Does that mean the idea is dead? So what if people say that they're interested but nobody actually buys? Well, what do you do? What you do next depends on exactly what's going on. It's a little bit of a call that you have to make, because some products or services you need to give people time to purchase them. So if you're contacting them and the feedback that you're getting is that they're interested, then don't quit too early. Keep following up. Again, these should be going into your CRM. They should be getting drip campaigns, emails, and texts. You could call them again later and follow up again and say, hey, I remember last time we spoke, you were interested, just seeing if you want to move forward. So I would say if the feedback you're getting from the potential clients, customers, or leads is good feedback, and they're saying that they do want the product or service, that it does solve a problem for them, but maybe they just haven't pulled the trigger, I would still give that idea some time. I would still give that iteration of the product or service some time, because you really want to go by the feedback. Now, the ultimate feedback is when somebody does purchase it. So don't spend too long on it, but don't call customers and have them say yes they're interested and then say, well, it's been 2 weeks, people say they're interested but they didn't buy it, so I need something else to make them buy it. Give it a little bit more time, keep getting it in front of people. Then at that point, if people are really saying they're interested, then you might want to start looking at the as opposed to the features of the product or service. Because if they're saying that they want it, if they're saying it solves a problem for them, but they just haven't actually made that purchase yet, it might just be a little bit too high of a price point, or the way that you're positioning. So don't give up too soon. Give every product or service that you put out there a chance, but make sure that you're doing it in the correct way, getting in front of them in the correct way, making sure all of your systems are automated on the back end, so you give that product or service a fair chance to actually work before you move on. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll go ahead and wrap it up here, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode of Founding Without